Have you ever noticed that the more you try to control life, the more everything seems to fall apart? The more you worry, the more things you see that could go wrong. And the more you think everything through, the less ready you feel to begin. But what if that is not how life actually works? We are taught that worrying helps us prepare, helps us keep everything under control. But in reality, constant worrying is exactly what prevents things from falling into place. Not because the world is against you, but because you are unconsciously disrupting the natural flow. Carl Jung once pointed out that most of what influences you lies outside your direct awareness. And sometimes what you call control is actually preventing you from stepping into the flow of life. When you stop worrying, it is not because everything becomes more certain, but because you are no longer interfering with its natural process, and everything begins to arrange itself in a way you could not see before. Worrying at a very subtle level is not always a direct response to a problem. Sometimes it is a form of psychological addiction, a state you return to not because it works, but because it feels familiar. Your brain does not prioritize what is right. It prioritizes what is familiar. If you are used to reacting with worry, your brain will automatically pull you back into that state, not because it is good, but because it is known. Worry is like a rocking chair. You always feel movement forward and backward, but no matter how long you rock, you remain in the same place. Worry has no natural endpoint. It only stops when you consciously step out of it. When you stop worrying, you stop creating an invisible layer of noise between yourself and reality. Worry destroys your ability to act. It creates a convincing illusion that you are preparing, but in reality you are simply delaying the moment of starting by prolonging preparation. When Peter stepped out of the boat to walk on water, he walked not because he was certain, but because he stepped while still uncertain. When he began to think about the wind and waves, he began to sink. You are not the content of your thoughts. You are the space in which content appears. When you see that, your relationship with worry completely changes, and it loses its foundation. Worry is rarely the starting point. Every concern you notice is actually covering something deeper beneath, a foundational fear often not clearly named. The shadow is not something foreign. It is everything you have experienced but do not allow yourself to own. When you begin to face it, the conflict starts to diminish, and worry gradually loses its reason to exist. When worry no longer dominates, the way you act becomes lighter and more natural. You no longer need to force yourself to move forward, because movement begins to arise from within. When you stop trying to control everything, opportunities appear differently. You begin to notice signals you previously missed, and a small step creates a
chain reaction you could never have predicted. Life does not require you to control it perfectly. It only requires you not to disrupt it. When you truly stop worrying, everything begins to fall into place because you finally stop interfering with its natural flow.